On this episode, I'll be dissecting the Daleks, the second ever Doctor Who serial, and the introduction to the Doctor's most significant adversary. This serial picks up right where an unearthly child left off. The main characters are currently unable to control the TARDIS. It refuses to return to Earth and seems to just randomly hop through time and space. Our main characters are also unaware that they're being bombarded with mass levels of radiation.
Now, what is the radiation rate, Susan?
It's reading normal, grandfather.
I had this pipe for effect to look atmospheric and stuff, but it won't light, so the gag is ruined. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Is that clogged? Gag ruined. I apologize. This early incarnation of the show is more mysterious and suspenseful due to the unpredictability of our crew's travels.
Ian, where are we?
I don't know.
Well, why doesn't he take us back?
I'm not sure that he can.
What, ever?
This serial would definitely be considered to have very slow pacing for a modern audience, and even though it's very, very slow storytelling, it does take breaks to explore inter-character relationships, which I can respect highly.
Now listen, Doctor, I don't want to argue with you. We're fellow travellers whether we like it or not, but for heaven's sake, try and see it from our point of view. You've uprooted us violently from our own lives.
You pushed your way into the ship, young man.
All right, I admit it. A small part of the blame is ours, but naturally we're anxious. What are we going to do? Can we live here? What do we eat? There are millions
A
of
very good idea. I'm hungry.
The TARDIS crew explores this deserted cityscape and start to succumb to their radiation sickness. They're still currently unaware of their fleeting health.
You all right?
Oh, yes, I'm just a bit tired. It was a long journey and my legs are rather weak.
Look, why don't you rest here? Ian and I will look around and see if we
No,
can...
no. I want to look around too. I should be all right, thank you.
I must say, I don't feel too good myself.
The first episode ends with an intriguing cliffhanger of Barbara terrified of an approaching enemy wielding a plunger. I think the Daleks are most effective here in 1963. They've become silly and camp and overplayed in modern Who, and they just don't seem to be able to function as an effective antagonist anymore. But here in their first appearance, the writer and director managed to surround them with mystery and fear and horror-esque elements. Skaro is a post-apocalyptic wasteland destroyed by a neutron bomb, and like much of 60s sci-fi, this serial is a commentary on nuclear war. The destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki had such a large cultural impact on us and seemed to resonate through our souls, and still does, really.
We've got radiation sickness, all of us. The Doctor's pretty badly hit.
Well, how do you know it's radiation? We found the Geiger counter. It seems that all the time we've been in the open, we've been exposed to it. Well, what's going to happen to us?
Well, unless we get treatment, we shall die.
While I appreciate the nihilistic, dark tone that Terry Nation created with this serial, I really needed the editing and music to push the narrative forward rather than drag and flounder as it does in this serial.
Council wishes to question the prisoners. I am not been informed. Wait.
Well, I think William Hartnell's portrayal of the First Doctor is very excellent in a lot of serials. I really would have appreciated the charisma of either Baker, Pertwee, Tennant or Capaldi to keep me captivated within this episode. Ian's just too straight-laced for me, and the Doctor was sleeping off his radiation sickness or just swanning around for most of this serial. I found myself drinking endless amounts of coffee, trying not to slip into a deep sleep and die forever.
It's okay! No!
Oh no, not the plunger.
I have got her. Now hold still.
This scene of Ian climbing inside of a Dalek and trying to talk like one erodes the significance and danger around them for me.
Not much room for my legs, but try the top. How is it?
It's very cramped indeed.
Oh, can't you sound more like a Dalek?
Yes, in a monotone. You've heard them.
Do you mean that?
That's it.
I really have to applaud the designer of the Daleks. Even though he created this iconic image on a meager budget, the idea of the Daleks took Britain by storm in a Beatlemania kind of way.
Just under 7 million people tuned in to watch the first episode of Terry Nation's Dalek story, a figure that would rise to nearly 10.5 million by the story's conclusion.
This scene effectively conveys the mercilessness of these tin can allegories for Nazis, and the music is on point. There's an entire subplot focused around the ideological and physical warfare between the Daleks and another race still occupying Skaro. And I'm sorry to say, but I just really had to fight the urge to fast forward through the entire thing. I didn't. I mean, I did a little bit, but I watched some of it.
You decided what we're going to do, Aladdin? You must take the place of Temesis now.
Yes, I know. If only I knew why the Daleks hated us. If I knew that, I could alter our approach to them, perhaps.
I have to say, the sets for Skaro, with their slanted angular walls and cold factory aesthetics, was a convincing home for a bunch of xenophobic ideologues. The constant conflict between the Doctor's cold, logical approach and Ian's ethical, humanistic ideas makes for great drama, and I would really like to see New Who pit the Doctor against his companions, just for the sake of entertainment. It functions so much better than the Doctor and his companions who love him and their happy adventures through space. Let's get some conflict between these characters. Let's get two opposing ideas and put them in a room together and throw them through the galaxy and see what happens. It's drama!
Young lady, I've been underestimating you. I will not allow you to use the Thals to fight for us. Are you challenging me? Yes, I am.
Do I have any say in this?
Of course you do.
Well, I think the Doctor's right, and I want to get out of here.
I am sorry, I'm not having anyone's death on my conscience.
Except mine, and Susan's, and the Doctor's.
Quite so.
I love the use of flat cardboard images of Daleks in this scene to try and convince the audience that there are larger numbers of Daleks. They only had 4 suits that they created for this serial, and sometimes a cheaper budget can come across more endearing than cheap, and I think that's the case with this scene, for me at least.
The disease has reached us in here. Then we cannot delay. But what are we to do? Is this the end of the Daleks?
The flat tone and staccato delivery of the Daleks' dialogue can become really annoying while you're listening to a group of them talk to each other.
We will direct the air polluted by radiation. away from the nuclear reactors into the sonic chamber. And if they do not die, we shall have our answer.
The 5th, 6th and 7th episodes of this serial have a lot of filler in them where Barbara and Ian and the other inhabitants of Skaro move through this underground system of caves and scale cliff walls and try to get to Skaro, and it's blatant filler. It's drab and it's boring and I hated it. In its defense, 55 years ago when it was written, the idea would have been that it would have aired on television once and it would never have been seen again. I don't think Terry Nation thought that half a century later people would be watching it on Blu-ray still, dissecting its composition, but it was just blatant filler and bad writing in my opinion. It almost fucking killed me watching it. God damn it!
Barbara?
Yes?
There seems to be a drop of about 30 feet or so.
About halfway through this serial, the Daleks decide to set off another neutron bomb, and I thought, oh great, a plot element that's going to pick up the pace and push me through and create some tension. And then they just drop the idea for no reason, and it just all grinded to an excruciatingly slow pacing once again. And then later on in the last episode, they think of another idea of flooding Skaro with more radiation. It's just like Terry Nation came up with this idea and then dropped it for no reason, then brought it back in the final episode. It was like, just what the fuck are you doing? Have some plot device which is carrying tension and pushing the narrative. You fucking make up your mind. Just something, anything, please.
It is too long. We must abandon the idea of a neutron bomb.
So the Daleks are obviously referencing the Nazis very heavily. They're xenophobic, they believe they're the master race, and they're giving a constant Zig Heil salute.
Tomorrow, we will be the masters of the planet Skaro.
I know that clip of me saluting is going to be taken out of context and used against me later on. So let me just clarify, I'm not a Nazi. Thanks for asking. One of the final scenes is our heroes overwhelming the Daleks physically, and it just highlights how inept and weak they are when it comes to the actual physicality. This scene really does a good job of undermining the hard work that the script and the tone and the music did to convey a reasonably compelling and dangerous antagonist.
Trapped! Help me! Trapped! Reinforcements! Overpowered! Reinforcements! Quickly! Quickly!
In conclusion, this serial was very popular when it aired, and it went on to cement Doctor Who as a British institution. I like the dark mythology that was set up for the Daleks in this, their first appearance. But viewing it from the lens of somebody living in 2018 and watching it in one sitting rather than an episode week by week, I definitely think this should have been a 4-parter, not a 7-parter. Not a 7-parter.
The Daleks have developed food by artificial sunlight. You've got everything you need now.
Yes. If only there'd been some other way.
If all of the filler was cut from this serial, if more coverage had been shot of the scenes so the editing could have moved quicker, if they had have utilized a more upbeat, tension-filled score, then this serial would have been amazing. But it was not. Thank you for watching, and really help out if you could like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for watching, and good night.